Hi everyone. I guess the moral to this story that I'm about to tell is when Jesus comes, don't be up the creek without a paddle, or in my case, off to the lake. My family and we went fishing last summer, and I know that the rapture is a very serious subject, but this story is really kind of silly, but we were going on this little fishing trip, and we dug out the canoe and we cleaned it all up, we washed it all out, and it's a good thing because when we washed it out, I looked up underneath the seats. Well, I've got these huge trees around me, and we have these wood spiders, and they're very big. Well, anyways, there was this wood spider up underneath one of our seats. Now, that would have been interesting if we was out on the lake. That would have been real interesting. But, I mean, that spider was like that big around. But anyways, we loaded the canoe on the trailer. We had it all set, and we thought we were all ready. And we came in, and while my wife and daughter were getting prettied up there, well, I thought, well, I'm going to go lay down for just a little bit. That's the worst thing I could have done. I went and laid down, fell asleep, and anyways, when they were ready, they hollered to me, and off we went. We're sitting out in the car, and I looked at my wife, and I'm thinking, did we forget anything? Is there something else we need here? I guess not. Well, off we went. The lake is about 30 miles away, so we got to the lake. We pulled up where the wharf is, and this gentleman walks over, this older gentleman, he walks over, and he's there to check out the boats before they go in the water because they don't want the moss to go from one lake to another and contaminate the lake, So he's going through, and he's looking at the canoe, and I mentioned to him we just washed it and everything, so of course it was great. But I'm standing there, and I'm looking down at the canoe, and then it dawned on me, I'm thinking, well, what's the chances that my wife put the paddles in the trunk? So I asked her, did you happen to put the paddles in the trunk? She said, no, I thought you did. No. I have to say that it's funny how your brain works, because for only about a quarter of a second, but I'm actually thinking the lake's nice and calm out there. Well, we can get out in the canoe and we can go like this. That didn't last long, only about a quarter of a second, and I just deleted that right out of my head. No way. Not going out on that lake without paddles. But this gentleman that was right there, well, he told us, well, I have a camp just a few camps down. I'll call my wife up and she can bring some paddles over, and you just bring them back to camp when you're done. So we thought, well, that's awful nice of him, that was great. So while we're waiting for her to come by with the paddles, I thought, well, I'll go park the car. And I don't usually drive this car ever since we got it, because I'm usually in my work car. And my work car is very standard. I mean, standard shift and standard windows. They're not power locks or anything like that, so I'm used to that car. Well, this car has got power locks and power windows and all that stuff. Well, I'm going around and I start locking the doors. Well, the first door that I picked, the car is kind of sitting on a slant, and I went to shut the door. Well, when I did, the gravity and the spring on the door, it went shut real quick. Well, didn't I catch my fingers in the door? I caught these 3 fingers in the door. Didn't that hurt? You talk about hurt. I didn't yell or anything like that, but it's funny, all of these things, how so many things can go through your mind at the same time. I'm thinking, well, that man back there, he just knows that we came to the lake without paddles. If I holler right out and he knows my fingers are caught in the door, well, he's going to think I'm ready for the loony bin, So I didn't say nothing. Didn't say a thing. But I did under my breath, I said, And I've trained myself through the years to just never say a bad word. So it's just not even, it's not there. It's just not in my head to say it. But I did look at the door and I said, this is what I said, honest to goodness. I said, "You stinking, biting fool." that was bad for me. I have to laugh at myself, it's so silly. But anyways, that bit my fingers good. I mean, I had to pull my hand out of the door quietly so he wouldn't notice. Anyway, I went and parked the car, and as soon as I parked the car and went to turn it off, all the doors unlocked. I went back to my wife and daughter, and my wife was telling me we're still waiting for the paddles, for the lady to bring the paddles. And my wife, she looks at me, well, she said, you know, it's not a lost cause anyway. I mean, if we couldn't have found any paddles, if we didn't have any, it's a beautiful day. We did bring a lunch, and we could go and have a picnic in the local picnic area. And then she looks at me, "Did you bring the cooker?" And of course I didn't. I didn't bring the cooker. So there we are. We don't have a cooker. We don't have our paddles. Well, anyways, when she came, we did go canoeing, and we went, but we didn't catch anything. I'm going around the lake, and honestly, of course, in Maine, the water is very cold. It's like ice, even in the summertime. I'm going around the lake, and every chance I get, I'm holding my hand in the water to get a little bit of relief from my fingers. And I took a little video clip of the water, and this was with no effects or anything. The way that the water was shimmering and the way that it was looking is about the way that I felt after jamming my fingers. I'll put that little clip in here. But what a beautiful day it was. But anyways, we went back. When we got done, we went, loaded the canoe on, returned the paddles, of course. And we went over to the picnic area, and we're sitting there and watching the sunset, eating cold beans and potato salad, and no coffee. We had the coffee pot, and everything we needed except for the cooker. Thanks to me. But it was a beautiful sunset. It was really nice, and to top it all off, we went for a little walk in this area where you can go swimming and everything. Beautiful place, but you couldn't hardly step anywhere because, how can I say? I mean, there was doo-doo everywhere, and I was honestly thinking, what do people do here? Do they all bring their dogs over here to let them go and then take them home? Is that the deal? This has got to be the silliest story that I've ever shared on YouTube. But come to find out, of course, we don't live that handy to the lake, so we don't know. But somebody told me, well, it's the Canadian geese that do that. And you could hear them squawking over to one side. And I don't know but what is on one of these videos that I'm going to share, one of these little clips. But anyways, it was an interesting day. So the moral of the story is that when Jesus comes, don't be off to the lake like me without a paddle and a cooker and all the stuff that you need. But seriously, I believe that Jesus is very soon to return, very soon. I had a word come to me yesterday, the word jubilation. Jubilation. And I was kind of down the first part of the week, but I asked the Lord if He could speak something to me, and right out of the blue, while I'm working away, that word came to me, jubilation. You know, I believe that we're going home very, very soon. I mean, the signs are everywhere. But thank you so much for listening to my silly story. I mean, I know it's silly, and the rapture is very serious, but God bless each and every one of you, and you take care until next time.